welcome to this edition of Pavelchek's Powerful Points. I am Virginia Pavelchek, and I am coming to you this evening from my house located in Steubenville, Ohio. This evening, we are going to talk about Trend 7, the percentage of American children living in families with incomes below the poverty line has increased continuously. Nearly 1 in 5 children are poor today. We're going to look at Section 2, examine the National School Lunch Program, its impact on assisting students from poverty to overcome academic barriers, and its possibilities for an online school. Explain how the information gathered in this field-based activity may be helpful to you as a classroom teacher to treat students equitably and respectfully due to their culture and family differences. We will also have a special guest who has had multiple appearances on the show a little later. What exactly is the National School Lunch Program? According to Amy Ross, the National School Lunch Program is a governmental program that was developed on June 4, 1946 by President Truman. It was developed to prevent nutritional deficits among low-income children within the school. The program, there are 2 types of qualifications within the program that are based upon the total family income. They are free or reduced lunch. Those who are substantially below the poverty level qualify for free lunch, in which the students do not have to pay for their lunch, and those who qualify for reduced lunch are a little above poverty, so instead of paying $1.50 for lunch, they pay around 40 cents. The program services over 49% of the students within our school district. The district pays for the food costs first, and then they receive a reimbursement check from the government. Now that we have some background knowledge as to what the National School Lunch Program is, what are the benefits from the program, and how does it affect the students' academic success? Also, are those who are in the virtual learning setting getting their nutrition since they are not part of the brick and mortar school setting? The National School Lunch Program's first strategy comments states that eating a healthy breakfast at home or at school is linked to better education performance. Ms. Ross also agrees that studies have shown that the impact of dietary foundations on normal brain functions. Science has proven that there are chemical messengers within the brain called neurotransmitters that have been studied in conjunction with nutrition. Without an adequate daily intake of nutrients from food, the body puts learning on the back burner and puts the sustained life support first. Ms. Ross also affirms that as many as half of low-income elementary students who skip breakfast perform poorer than their counterparts who eat breakfast. Studies also show that children who eat breakfast have improved attention in late morning performance tasks, retrieve information more quickly and accurately, make fewer errors in problem-solving activities, and concentrate better and performs more complex tasks. The National School Lunch Program also states that children's performance is dependent upon their health and well-being. Proper nutrition proves better test scores. In conclusion, we can state that proper nutrition equals high performance from the students. But what does that mean for students who do not go to the brick and mortar schools? How will they get their nutrition that is needed in order for academic success? The National School Lunch Programs has other programs such as the After School Snack Program and the SNAP Program, which provides the families with the resources needed in order to feed their children. Those who are in the virtual learning settings can apply and use these resources to meet the nutritional needs of their children so that the child can perform within the online school setting. Now it is time for our special guest this evening, veteran teacher Miss Mary Louise Morgan. How has, if any, the school lunch breakfast program changed since you first entered the teaching field?
As far as I can remember, there's always been a lunch program when I've been teaching, although I don't think as many students qualified for free and reduced lunch when I first started as they do now. I think there were a lot of students mostly paid for their lunch if they chose to buy it. The breakfast program is really new. I feel within the last 5 to 6 years is the only time we've had a breakfast program.
How important is the breakfast lunch program when it comes to academics?
Well, it's very important. You have to meet the child's basic needs first, one of which is making sure they're not hungry, before they can focus on anything academic. So I do feel that they are both important. Although I also know kids, and a lot of kids don't want to eat breakfast, so that's a tough call. But I think it's important to offer it.
Are there any other areas that you would like to speak about based on the National School and Lunch Program, to where pros or cons?
The cons is probably a personal bias in that it's upsetting to me as a taxpayer, frankly, to see children have money for snacks, but they get their lunch free. That doesn't sit too well with me. I think we have our priorities a little bit mixed up on that.
On the issue of academic success or that their lack of, have you ever had a student come in and not have breakfast and their performance is not up to par as a peer who has had breakfast, or not so much?
I'm not usually aware of those kind of things unless the child expresses it. If a child isn't feeling well and I inquire, did you eat breakfast, and the answer is no, I try to get them something through the office or the cafeteria in some way. But the child would pretty much have to tell me that. That's not real evident to me, no. Really, I do think some children can do fine without breakfast. It's just the way they are. So it's a hard call.
And we do eat lunch
On the early side.
Yeah, on the
Yes,
early
that's true.
side.
That's true.
On the early side. So our
Now, when they
lunches-
first start in the fall, I think they're hungry mid-morning because they've been used to snacking all morning at home.
Yes.
You know, they eat whenever they want to, grab a snack whenever they want to, so they have a little bit of trouble with that at the beginning.
Absolutely. Anything else you would like to state?
As far as the breakfast program goes, a side issue other than nutrition, I used to have breakfast duty a couple days a week, and I was very interested. I felt like I was doing something for the children other than giving them nutrition. When I even said, good morning, is that a new shirt? I like your shoes. Some connection. I feel that some children probably get out of bed, get themselves ready. No one sees them in the morning.
There's no
It's hard for me
interaction.
to believe, but they don't have a connection with an adult in the morning, or a have a good day, or maybe there's been turmoil in the house in the morning. That certainly can happen with any family. And I felt that I was there as a calming force and getting their day started well.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for your insight, Mrs. Morgan. Mrs. Morgan made some valid points. She talked about how there have been an influx of students receiving free and reduced lunch. I can and need to add that in our area, we used to have a flourishing steel mills that have since been closed down. With the closing down and loss of jobs, many parents have been placed on unemployment, and their children are receiving free and reduced lunch. Mrs. Morgan also cited that she feels there is correlation between breakfast and academic success. She talked about how the breakfast program was implemented into the school district about 5 years ago. She also talked about the importance of not only the nutrition, but also the early morning interaction of the student to teacher. So what exactly does all this mean to me and the teaching of my students? I've worked in the same school district for the past 4 years. Within those 4 years, I have seen the academic struggles that students have had due to no breakfast, and for all I know, for no dinner at home. The school district in which I work has a free and reduced lunch rate of 49% of the student body. Thus, almost all of my students, in some years more than half, are at or below poverty level. What can I do as a teacher to help my students? Starting last year, The school district adopted the free breakfast program in which all students, no matter what their economic status, is entitled to free breakfast. The school also went a step further by having those students who come in late have a to-go bag to take back to their room so that even though they were not able to make it to breakfast in the cafeteria, there is still breakfast available for the students. I am thankful for this program. For 4 years ago, when I was teaching in preschool, I had a student start crying. It was first thing in the morning. I pulled her over to the side and asked her what was wrong, and she stated that she had not had breakfast and was starving as tears rolled down her face. This child was not worried about learning their letters that morning. That was not the first thing on their mind. It is like Dr. Payne stated in lesson session 7 that we need to know the rules of poverty in order to better understand our students. If we do not meet their physical needs, then we will not be able to meet their academic needs, and they will not be able to learn. As for the goals for my district, I would like to see the program adopt the after-school snack program because many of the students may not be going home to a meal after school. We need to make sure that we are at the same time being culturally aware of our students' heritage, and that if they are fasting for any purpose, that we are not forcing food upon them. As educators, it is our responsibility to again make sure that we are providing our parents and caregivers of our students with the resources needed to take care of our students and meet those physical needs at home so that we can meet their academic needs at school. According to the studies from Ms. Ross, the National Lunch Program, and my own personal experience, the need for nutrition is evident. This is Jenny Pavelchuk. Thank you for listening and have a nice evening.